On this week's edition of Tutorial Tuesday, I'm going to talk about my leather sand and shot bags. For a long time, I have been making pitch trays to do larger pieces of chasing and repoussé in, and I would use my big sandbag that my mom made for me to support them. People have seen this and asked me for a long time if I could make them for them, and so now I am. What we've got here are three different sizes. We've got a 10 by 10, a 14 by 14, and an 18 by 18. And what these guys do is they correspond with a couple different size pitch containers that I'm making, which is a 6 by 9, and I've got a 9 by 12 here. And I also make custom sizes and a 10 by 10. So, say for instance, this is a 10-inch sandbag, and if you had a 6 by 9 tray, which is perfect for chasing cuff bracelets, you could actually do two of them in here at once, or maybe a bunch of them if you stack them that way. Is now that your piece is positionable. Not only is it positionable, but if you add lead or sand, preferably lead, you add a lot of mass and weight to your piece. So now you get a much more solid dead blow every time you hit it. Now you could rotate your piece around, and if you position your bag differently, now you could get into different angles as well. These pitch trays come full, and not only are they good for holding bigger pieces, but say for instance if I wanted to chase a bunch of small pieces that I couldn't fit into a pitch bowl, maybe only one at a time would fit into a pitch bowl, now I could lay them all out on a single sheet and only have minimal scrap in between each one, because instead of having to have all that extra area around my piece, now I've got them all in the same piece of metal, and they've got that mass so they won't stretch and pop out of the pitch bowl as easy. These also work great for mounting your pitch bowls in. Basically, if you just put them flat and create a little divot in the center, they hold your pitch bowl great. They add mass. You could rotate it just like in a ring. The advantages is this is actually a little bit more grippy than the ring. The rings come with mold release on them from the factory, and they're really slippery and they're really bouncy. So every time you hammer onto that pitch bowl, it's kind of bouncing around and give you vibrations, and it's actually sucking up some of the energy from your hammer because of those vibrations. With these, you get a nice solid hit every time, and you're not wasting energy. I'm not a big fan of those rings. Another thing these are great for are for panel beating. So if you fill them up a little bit stiffer, or for instance you could just fold a piece of it over so that they're nice and firm, now you've got a much firmer surface that you could just take a piece of sheet and hammer into to create a dish or whatnot, or if you need to adjust a piece that you're working on. They also work great if you just are chasing and you pushed your piece down a little bit too far, or you just popped your piece out of doing repoussé and you're like, oh no, I just pushed that a little bit too far, I need to make a little adjustment. You know what, you can take it to a sandbag and just do a little adjustment here, a little adjustment there, or the same thing this way. It's not going to be precise like a pitch bowl, but just for a quick fix, it works pretty well. Another thing that these are great for is for holding vessels. And what I've got here are a couple vessels sent by Liza Nechamkin. She makes them over at nechamkin.com. These are spun copper vessels. She sent me two of them here. And these are really nice for chasing on. I might use these in some of my workshops coming up. And she also makes chasing tools and hammers as well. These are great. You fill these up with pitch, and now you want to chase on a vessel. You kind of create a little trough in there, and now that holds your piece nice for chasing on. and you could spin it really easily or position it as you want, so it kind of sits in like so, and you've got a nice piece, a nice way to hold your vessels on. The way you fill these, and you can fill them with sand or lead. If you want to fill them with sand, go to your local Home Depot or to the beach if you live close to the beach, or a masonry supply store, and get the finer sand is better, not the playground sand. And you just open these guys up here with a little Velcro here. And what I like to do is take like a gallon jug or maybe a wide mouth water bottle and cut it in half, and now I've got myself a little funnel that I can just pour it in there. When you're done, just close up the Velcro and you're good to go. Sand works, lead works much better. It's denser, it's heavier, and it's going to give you a much more solid blow. You get recycled lead shot online for fairly cheap. I think you get 50 pounds of it for like 75 bucks delivered, which is pretty cheap. I think you would probably need about 20 pounds, maybe between 15 and 20 pounds for this small bag, probably around 30 or 40 pounds for the medium size, and this big one would take a lot of lead. You could also mix lead and sand together to give you that volume you need and some mass without being so heavy. I think that's about it for this week's edition of Tutorial Tuesday. If you have any questions, comments, or things you would like me to talk about in the future, please let me know. Have a nice day.